What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Team Chat Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Jerrett Wilson, joined to my right by Rachel Mogan.
How's it going?
And to my left, our special guest for this episode, my best buddy, Michael Koploy.
Hey, guys.
Feels good to have a third person here again.
Right?
Like, this is right. This
I know.
is correct.
The balance of three.
Yeah.
It's what is it? The conjoined triangle of success?
I think that's right.
That actually brings up a very small side tangent. On my way here this morning, Sunday mornings in the city of Austin, the local rock and alternative station does like chill jazz mornings. And it's like, okay.
It's Chillville.
Alt rock. Yeah, it's Chillville.
Yeah.
And they were playing a song by some guy, Craig Armstrong. I don't know who that is.
Never heard of him.
Craig Armstrong featuring Lana Del Rey. I only know this because they told me. But at some point during this 10-minute long song, they had sampled Fee's theme from The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword.
Really?
And I was like, what the fuck is happening? I was so confused because that's where I came into the song. Apparently only 5 minutes into it. And they had like sampled like the Legend of Zelda soundtrack. And I was like, what's happening? I don't understand. And then they like totally dropped it, and I was like, what happened? I was only here for that. I was going to change it.
Someone's going to get sued for that, for sure.
Somebody's, it was so
Well, they probably
little.
asked, I mean,
it
if
was
it's
so
them.
little. Maybe they had like just managed to sneak in under the radar of like acceptability.
Speaking of that, I think I told you about this, but I don't know if I ever told you on the same line. Gareth Coker, the composer of Ori and the Blind Forest, tweeted out this was a few months ago, that this German rap group had sampled the main theme of Ori and the Blind Forest in their song. And he was like, didn't ask for permission. They did it totally illegally. And like, it was linked to like a YouTube video of their music video, which was really produced. I was like, oh, snap. So like,
snap.
They fucked up bad.
As cool as that sounds, they should have gotten permission because that's the most amazing sound.
And it's like, it's not even like a small hidden thing where you have to listen really hard for it.
Like
If you
really
know the song, if you know the
obvious.
Ori soundtrack and you hear this song, oh man, it's bad.
Ooh, that sucks.
But then I did notice in all the replies, the rapper replied and was like, hey man, we just got this from our beat producer. He didn't tell us like what was up.
Okay.
So like he was very apologetic, like, I'm sorry, like, kind of like, how do we fix this situation?
Man, that
but
would
like,
suck so much to be
I know,
them
right?
and to be like, dude, because they got like stabbed in the back without even knowing it.
Exactly.
That sucks.
And so there was I was like, that's not, because it's one thing to do it intentionally and just be like, whatever, man.
Did he tag the beat producer?
No, I don't think he did. But yeah, I call that dude out
That would
hardcore.
have been really funny.
Oh, man. But in case you did not know, Team Chat Podcast is a video game podcast where we talk about games, the ones we love, the ones we hate, and everything in between, like music that get ripped off in popular culture. But if you like that, you can send us an email at teamchatpodcast@gmail.com to get in contact with us and follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube and iTunes channels. You want to support the show, you can do that as well by going to patreon.com/teamchatpodcast, where for as little as $1 a month, you can support the show, and in return, we will give you a cool perk, like getting the episode early before its General Tuesday release, and access to our private Team Chat Podcast Discord server.
Boom.
Speaking of Discord, I learned what that was yesterday. So,
And you now know?
in doing my research for the Team Chat podcast, I looked
boy.
up video game facts. Someone had been telling me about Discord. I just never heard of it before. I don't play video games online very typically. I think I have one PlayStation friend, and I think it's you, Jerrett.
Yeah.
So when someone was telling me, it's like,
It's lonely on there in Michael's
exactly.
PlayStation.
Well, I personally like playing like the individual games,
Right.
offline games. But they were like, yeah, it's like Skype, TeamSpeak, but better. So looked it up. It seems pretty cool.
It is pretty cool.
pretty
It actually reminds me a whole lot of Slack, but just for gaming specifically.
Yeah, definitely.
So, and how it operates and runs and stuff
Can
like
you
that.
use voice chat on Slack?
You can now.
Oh, you can
Yeah, I
now?
don't know if you can.
Okay.
Yeah, they bought a company called Screen Hero. They do pretty much that.
Gotcha.
So it works pretty well. Better than Google Hangouts, which is the worst.
Yeah.
So
That really is the worst. I hate you having to use that for any time I have
No,
to.
thank you. Anyway, so Discord, it's the best.
Yeah.
And
So
you should
check it out, the
subscribe to Team Chat Podcast.
Yeah, there you go. But we don't have any updates for our song contest because sadly, even though no one
It
was
was
able to
so
guess it.
easy. Come on.
was-
We like threw it to you.
Yeah. Dylan gave us a strong guess with Bravely Second.
He did. He at least got
Because he at least got that we were alluding to it was a sequel.
But if he
or
had
something
listened
like
to
that.
any of the Bravely Second soundtrack, he would know that it's not even close.
It's not
Stylistically speaking. Shame on Dylan.
But kudos to him for giving
Yeah,
it
at
a
least
shot
he tried.
anyway.
He did try.
But the game was Destiny 2. So by the hint being it's better than the first,
Yeah.
Destiny 2 is so far standing out to be much better than Destiny 1. And, So that was how we got
Even
from there.
without Peter Dinklage.
Yeah, I personally miss Peter Dinklage. I thought that was a fun addition, even though he didn't do that well in the first voicing.
My
of the first
only
one.
experience actually is seeing you playing Destiny and walking through the room and saying, "Wait, is that Peter Dinklage? Is Tyrion Lannister in this game?"
Wait, was his like physical form in the game?
No,
his
he's the
voice.
voice of the little robot ghost that
okay.
flies you around, and they replaced him with Nolan North in an update later on because
right.
people maligned his performance.
Gotcha.
So badly.
That's such a sick burn.
Yeah,
like
it really
to be
is.
retroactively phased out.
I mean, you can't really do that in movies or TV shows.
You can't.
It's only in a game where you can like patch it, be like, "You've been removed."
Yeah.
That sucks.
But yeah, so it's a fun thing. But Destiny 2, the music, that was The Farm, which actually that song, you should check it out, Michael, because it gives me very much the same feeling or the vibe as the Westworld main theme.
Nice.
And so I was like, ooh, I like that. I like that a lot.
Great theme.
Okay. Well, today we have a couple different. Oh, so stick around to the end of the episode for the song contest for this week. We're going on so many fun tangents. I'm
fun.
forgetting my normal spiel here. But stick around to the end of the episode where we'll have this week's song contest and hint. All right. So for today's topic, we had a couple different things. First off, new trailer for Red Dead Redemption 2 dropped last Thursday. Michael is the one who got. Oh wait. I'm going all over the
I was
place
about to
crazy.
say, who is this guy?
Who are you, Michael? I know who you are, so this is why I'm even more just thrown off by this. But for our listening audience, tell us who you are and how you got into gaming.
Long-time listener, first-time caller. Thanks for having me. So let's see. How did I get into gaming? I think back to my uncle would come from Michigan and bring his Nintendo Entertainment System, the original.
Nintendo Entertainment System.
My first video game experience was Duck Hunt.
Nice.
So
Nice.
exquisite game. I probably liked that video game gun a little bit too much. Probably freaked out my mom and dad. But so yeah, playing the original Nintendo. I mean, there's home videos of me sitting in my underwear playing Super Mario Brothers.
As are there videos of us all.
Staring at the television for hours on end without blinking.
Your parents just set it up in the corner, and you just see the timestamp just moving days, and Michael's still just sitting there.
I didn't eat. I didn't sleep. It was great. So that was like as a kid. Now, so I have generally an addictive personality, so I try not to play video games that often because the example we'll talk about later, Pyre, I think I played for about 3 days straight. That's pretty much what I do about everything. So,
Well, that's why you're like refusing to start Witcher 3 yet.
oh yeah, because I'll just like lose friends, family, everyone. Yeah, I've purchased that game on sale and just haven't played it yet for fear of being sucked in. But in terms of types of games, generally like RPGs. So, favorite game all time, Super Mario RPG.
Nice.
Which, if you can get a hold of this Super Nintendo Classic, you can actually play.
play
Oh, it's
it.
on there.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's probably
nice.
the best one on
SNES
there.
Classic.
So are you going to get the SNES Classic just for that?
I mean, I would like to. Well, also, you can't get it. So
Well, I
it's
mean,
like-
but there's supposed to be more in stock coming soon. So
Yeah,
it's
we'll
like,
talk about that. We're going
Okay.
to talk about that a
Gonna
little
talk
bit
about that a
later.
little bit?
Yeah, a little bit.
So that's a great game. You should definitely play that.
I don't
Let's
think I
see.
played that one.
Of good games played this year, you got me on Horizon Zero Dawn, so that was a great game.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, did you already finish it?
Yes, I did.
Very nice.
Again, addicted.
Yep.
So that was awesome. I'm trying to think other games that I played this year. A little bit of Overwatch, though I think I'm about 300 levels behind you now.
She's like way even more higher
way
than
up
me.
there.
What level are you now?
Like 400 and some odd?
Jesus
I
Christ.
did
got
not
4
even know it went
stars.
that high. I think I'm about
Yeah.
30 right now.
No, here's the thing. Like, we think we're like high up there, but then you see people that have the gold portrait. Gold portrait means you're like over level
1,000 or something?
700.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
it's so far up there.
I don't understand. I mean,
Too many.
Those
That's
people
too
who are
many
like trying
hours.
to go pro kind of stuff.
Yeah,
but like, oh my
and
God.
what's funny is they're not even good.
Yeah,
And it's like,
it's
how
just
did you
time
spend
given.
this many hours and not actually progress?
Yeah, no, I don't know. So how Michael and I know each other is that we actually met at an old job, same job actually, where I met Sam.
I was about to say, did you guys meet at the nerd convention?
No, not the nerd. Well, I don't know.
sick
That place could be kind of
burns.
said nerd convention,
Yeah, a
but,
little bit.
but no, we actually worked at this job together. Then we wound up living together for about 4 years almost.
Yeah, it probably would have been 4 years, and then
And then
this guy
we took a
decided to
quick
get
break.
married.
Yeah, we took a break for a couple of years. Then Michael lived with us again for the last year, and then yeah. So best friends.
Yeah.
Best friends.
BFFs. Best friends forever.
Do you guys have super best friend PlayStation controllers that, like, when you put the two halves together, they form a whole controller?
No, but we should.
That's not even
I've
a
got
thing,
an
but
old
that
broken one.
should be a great idea.
I've got a broken one that I don't use anymore. We could just like cut it in,
Yeah,
in
just
half.
duct tape it back together.
Can we just make a necklace out of it?
Yes.
And just carry around half of it. It'd be great.
It'd be so huge.
So huge.
Like all half cut up, the wires like exposed.
Yeah,
That'd be
See the
really
circuit
super
boards and
dangerous.
stuff.
I guess maybe like old PS2 memory cards would be a little bit easier.
That would
Probably
work. That would work too.
Classics.
Okay, so the first part of what we want to talk about today. New trailer for Red Dead Redemption 2 dropped. And now this is very coincidental timing, but works out great because Michael is who actually got me in on Red Dead Redemption, the first one. I remember it keeps popping up in my Facebook memories. You wrote on my wall, it was
Facebook memories.
buy Red Dead Redemption 2 or I will skin your hide and sell it for $5 in the nearest town. Because that's
there you
something you
go.
can do in Red Dead Redemption.
That's funny.
Although not human skin, like
other
animal skins and
skins.
stuff like that.
Yeah,
so
that would be bad.
But yeah, so
It'd be a very different game if it were human skins.
exactly. So I bought that shortly after that message, receiving that message, and then proceeded to play the crap out of that game as well.
Yeah, I'm thinking back to that. That's actually, so when we lived together, this was in 2010, when our house was burglarized.
Burgled.
Oh, no.
Red Dead Redemption was stolen.
Yeah.
Very, very sad.
It was sad because I had
beat it. Did you beat it at that time, or you beat it later?
I had beat it. I think the main story, I was at the part where you get to play as John Marston's son. Okay. So I think I'd completed
like the
main
last
thing.
couple, yeah.
Yeah. But so they stole his Xbox 360, which had it, and then they stole my PS3, which had it on there too. So I mean, they had my saves. I still have the game, and I've started it over again. But I'm like, man,
It's so much work.
it's so much work. Yep. And at this point, if they're doing Red Dead Redemption 2, I'm like, I'll just wait for a remaster or something like that. So which surely might be coming at some point.
Did Red Dead come out in 2010?
20.
When did it come out?
The 09 or 2010, probably, right?
Wow.
Yeah, because I think I was still living at Gus's house.
Yeah,
And
that sounds
then-
about right.
Let me do a quick Google.
So
on
it's
that real quick.
basically been like almost 10 years.
It's been a long time since that
Well,
game
they've been
came out.
talking about remaking it for a while, or there at least been rumors of it, and now it's going to be delayed forever until
May 2010.
Okay.
So yeah,
2010.
7 years
Wow,
ago.
yeah.
So,
And
yeah.
it's already been delayed once, right?
The game.
Yeah, Red Dead
It was
2.
supposed to come out fall of this year.
But I feel
So,
like that's what's
October or
happened
something
with,
like that.
I don't know if it was the last Grand Theft Auto. I remember Grand Theft Auto 4 was delayed a number of times.
I mean, a lot of these games get delayed a lot.
Oh, because it's
which-
Rockstar,
it's
right? So it's
Rockstar,
still
yeah.
Rockstar. Okay.
So anyway, the first trailer for Red Dead Redemption 2 came out a few months ago, and it basically just showed vistas, the setting and different things like that. Didn't give anything into the story. And so after a lot of that, people were like, okay, we have a lot of questions now. We want answers. Is this going to turn into basically Grand Theft Auto Online, but Red Dead? Because they never really they say there's going to be a single player campaign, but they also they didn't allude to how much the online will be and how immersive it's going to be and how much it's going to own the game. You never know these things. Is the campaign going to be like 10 minutes, and then there's all this online stuff that you do for the next for the next however many 10 15 years, like they're going to do with Grand Theft Auto 5. So you never know. But anyway, this one came out, story trailer. It's confirming that it is actually a prequel to Red Dead. You're not playing as John Marston, who is the antagonist or protagonist. Sorry. Wait, is that right?
Protagonist is like your main character.
He's an anti-hero.
Yeah,
we'll
he's
do it that way.
Villain turned protagonist.
There we go. Okay, protagonist. That's the right one. I always, for some reason, get confused.
What about
with
your
those.
deuteragonist? It's a real thing.
I know that is a real
Wait,
thing.
what's a deuteragonist?
A deuteragonist is basically the word for the secondary protagonist. So, like, if you have kind of two main characters, but one is like the off main character, that's your deuteragonist.
Got it.
Cool. Now it's just more things
The
for me
more
to get
you
confused
know.
on. So it does seem to be so you're an outlaw. You're in the gang that John Marston was a part of before. So you run into characters like Dutch, who is the head of the gang, who I believe in Red Dead Redemption is either, do you kill him or is he already dead?
Is this a spoiler-free podcast?
Red Dead Redemption's
We can
7 years
spoil
old.
Red
We can
Dead.
spoil Red Dead.
So I'm trying to remember. You killed Dutch, I think.
I'm pretty sure you do.
Well, there's the one where the guy commits suicide. That's not Dutch.
That's
though.
not Dutch.
That's near the end.
That's like the guy who took over.
The Mexico gang. I can't remember.
Man, the game's so big. Like, it's hard to remember all the little things. But no, because you hunt him up onto like a mountain and he like shoots himself or falls off a ledge, something like that.
Yeah, that sounds right.
But he was like the leader, I think, who took over after Dutch dies.
That sounds right.
I think, if I remember correctly.
So is the trailer? I'm trying to remember. Do they mention Dutch or do they mention?
You see Dutch.
Oh, that's what
you
it is.
see Dutch because he asks the main guy. He's like, "You got my back," and he's like,
Oh,
I do.
the guy with like the nice hand,
Yeah,
the
nice.
nice chops.
He's obviously
Yeah,
like
it's good.
very well off from his life of outlawing.
Right.
So
He had that fine pinstripe button down on.
exactly.
So that's interesting. So if the game's a prequel, it takes place probably the turn of the century. 'Cause
Yeah, probably because Red Dead is.
like 19.
I was about to say which century. I need more cues.
No, I don't think
20th
it's.
century.
I think it's still
It'd probably be around 1900.
So early
Yeah.
1900s.
So I guess that mean the.
1911. American Frontier in the year 1911.
Okay. So are you going to see like a kid version of James or like you're like? I guess they haven't said like how.
I
early
bet.
it's
I
gonna
honestly
be.
think that it's going to be that you'll probably run into him at some point in the game. I don't think it's so far in behind that it's going to be like, yeah, you're going to see a kid version of him or anything like that. I think you'll at some part you'll run into John Marston. You'll have some interaction with him and stuff like that. Like I would be. It's got to be a thing. Like John Marston was such a good character and such a strong character. I would be surprised if they don't bring him up at all in this game.
I hope you run into him and he's like just a bratty preteen.
That'd be kind
That'd
of
be
funny.
excellent.
learning how to hunt.
Learning how to hunt.
So the main character now is Arthur Morgan, and so the Dutch van der Linde gang is the main gang. So yeah, that's not the guy who kills himself in the first one.
That's the other guy.
So from everything of the story of the tone of the trailer, you are very much an outlaw in this game. It doesn't look like you're going to have the redemption arc of John Marston. You're very like there's a point where you in the trailer he tells like a kid like your mother's in black from mourning her father and I'll keep her there for your sake, you know, which is like oh shit.
Not a nice guy.
Like no, he's like you mess with me, I'm going to kill you and you'll be in the
And
ground
that
next
is
to
your main character,
dad.
that
yeah,
guy.
That's the main
Okay.
character.
I was like, this fellow doesn't seem very nice at all.
No, so it's going to be interesting because that is probably going to give it much more of a Grand Theft Auto feel in that sense, where you're playing a villain, a bad guy. Because in the original Red Dead, you had the option to be bad as Marston. Like you could go into the town and just shoot everybody, and it lowers your honor rating or respectability, something like that in the game.
As it would.
Yeah, you start getting chased by posses of
But don't worry,
sheriffsmen
come
and stuff
tomorrow,
like that.
everyone will be back, so you can do it all over again.
Exactly. So I remembered a couple times I would try to go into a town and see how far I could get before just the amount of people shooting at me was too much, and I just couldn't do anything anymore. And then like go back to a save so it wouldn't actually affect my rating and stuff like that because I wanted to be on.
Wuss, come on, follow through.
But so it looks really like it's going to be a very entertaining game. Obviously, it looks like and from the shots they showed, like they added in new things. Like it looks like you'll have the ability to possibly dual wield weapons now.
Nice.
Like pistols. They're also adding in bow and arrow and different
There's
things
a
like that.
speckles, as we pointed out.
Which, a funny thing, just Rockstar's attention to detail. I saw this on Reddit, the gaming subreddit. Somebody took the shot where the horse is walking. You see Arthur riding the horse in this plane, and they zoom in and they're like, yes, Rockstar actually animated horse testicles.
Oh, come on.
I was like, oh my God, why?
It's important.
It is important for the realistic factor, I guess. But
Just for
Boy
the
horse, girl
funsies, I
horse, like,
guess.
whipped its tail around, you get a clear view, and it's like, yes, they are animated indeed.
Probably why the game's been delayed.
Yeah, probably so. They had
That's
they just had to
why.
put so much detail into that. They're like,
like,
no,
guys,
this
this-
has got to be perfect.
People are gonna just blow this up online. We got to get the testicles right.
Yep.
So,
I wonder if that's what's going to tip the scales, make it like that NC-17 rating.
I hope
Possibly.
So.
Possibly.
Ooh, that'd be a crazy game
Yeah.
if you got NC-17. But they also did say spring 2018 is the
See,
release.
they say that. I'm willing to bet at
It
least
probably will get pushed.
$20
Since
that
there's
it's going
not-
to get.
Ooh.
Yeah, $20, sir.
You gonna take her up on this? Jerrett?
Have we an agreement?
So you're saying it will get...
I'm saying it
I
will-
also think it will get delayed.
well, then fine. Don't bet me.
Okay.
But that's also, it says spring, so maybe internally they're thinking February, and then they say April, and that's a delay. But,
Yeah.
So you're saying summer.
I'm saying
The point that they
outside
don't
of the
have-
official season of spring. Beyond that.
Being that they didn't say an actual month day, like, yeah, they're giving themselves the opportunity to be able to
3
push it again.
months-ish.
Yeah. So it will be interesting. I bet we won't get an
gonna be
official release
June.
date until probably January, February.
But they release it on the 4th of July to coincide. Yeah, that's my
With
bet.
America.
That's my official bet.
Okay, 4th of July release.
4th of July.
Got it.
$20.
So, super excited for that game. It's going to be fun. But now for the main topic. Oh, nope, sorry. I'm all over the place today.
You're just all over the place.
I'm just so excited because there's so many good
I
things
know
to
you're
talk about.
so excited about stuff. Do you want me to do the thing?
Let's
the
do
thing
the
and
moment
stuff?
with Mogan.
Okay, yeah, just a bunch of updates right now. So real quick, we kind of mentioned it earlier. The SNES Classic did just release officially on September 29th. My stupid younger brother has been texting me and Snapchatting me pictures of his, and he's like posing it in places, and he's like, look at how cute it is. It's like, okay, screw you for starters. I guess he was able to get a pre-order and I was not. But the release in stores has been going a lot better than the NES Classic did. People were reporting that their stores were saying they had sometimes upwards of 70 units. So like for the people that lined up to actually get one on launch day, almost all of them did. So I missed because I have a real job and, you can't dedicate all your time to gaming. I wasn't able to get one myself, but I'm holding out hope that maybe later in the season they'll still be available. So from what I can tell, it's gone over a lot better than the NES Classic's launch did, which hopefully indicates that maybe Nintendo learned their lesson that manufactured shortages are not good for consumers or companies.
So we actually had some friends who were trying to get one too. And
did they succeed?
They did succeed finally, but he went to they missed out on the pre-orders too. And so he went to a GameStop or somewhere, and this is in New York City, so I'm sure like the lines were everywhere.
I was about to say, they have so many people. It doesn't count. Bad example.
But he got in line at a GameStop, was 10th in line, and they only had 9.
Oh.
And so then he was still dead set trying to find one because he wanted an NES Classic too, but also missed out. But then this one is the one he was like, no, I'm getting this one for sure. And wound up, he was able to get it through Amazon's treasure truck.
Oh, I saw those treasure trucks. It's like this crazy. It's like
it's basically just like a truck that drives around and goes to different cities. There's actually, I don't know if the Austin one is still here, but I got an email about it a couple days ago.
Yeah, it's crazy,
and
man.
And so apparently like 2 or 3 these set up somewhere in New York, and you could go, and there's like, and they will have just like random things on the truck.
It's like a food truck, but for just stuff.
Yeah. And so Amazon did it, and they go, and sure enough, they were all selling SNES Classics, and that's where he got one.
Oh.
So you just walk up to the truck and say, I'd like a taco and a Super Nintendo Classic.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, well, we have one of those things. And they'd give you
it's the taco. We only have one.
It's the taco. We only have one.
So I then checked it to see if the one here, and it was actually still here. It was up in the Arboretum, but it was already all sold out. But that's all they were selling was SNES Classics too. And I was like, oh man, that's kind of a fun way to get it.
That's such a weird idea,
Because that's
Amazon.
how we got the NES Classic through Prime Now, actually.
Oh, that's
because they were doing like
right.
rolling releases across different cities, and the one for Austin
man.
came up, and I was like, purchase.
So not
Amazon's
only purchased,
getting
but got
weird
it within
on us.
2 hours or whatever the Prime Now thing is.
So it was pretty cool.
That's
Guy
pretty awesome.
just brought it to my door.
Nice.
Team Chat, sponsored sort of by Prime Now.
Yes.
All right, so coming up, as of this episode's airing, you will have available on October 3rd Forza Motorsport 7 for Xbox One PC, Middle-earth, Shadow of War.
Oh, snap. That's next week.
PS4, Xbox One, and PC October 10th.
okay.
So that's coming up real quick. The Evil Within 2.
Ooh.
So I think this might be one of your spoopy games for scurry times of year. So that's coming up for PS4, Xbox One, and PC October 13th. Is that a Friday?
Yes.
Because that would be excellent.
That's Friday the 13th
Good marketing.
Is on October.
Top notch. And then a little bit further down the line, we have Gran Turismo Sport for PS4 October 17th and South Park, The Fractured Butthole.
Are you getting that one?
I pre-ordered that game.
Nice.
So, mostly because with that you got Stick of Truth, which I'd never played. But I went on a trip recently with some friends, huge South Park friends, and they said you have to play it. It's a episode in game form. So
That's awesome.
Amazing. So that's PS4, Xbox One, and PC October 17th. And then the only thing that I'm excited about is, of course, October 6th, that beautiful orange and white Nintendo 2DS XL launches. And I will be getting that promptly.
It's pre-ordered?
Yay!
Is it locked
It
down?
is pre-ordered.
Okay.
Because I still have that Best Buy gift card that was
Oh,
like
yeah.
$500, and I was
won a
like, all
$500
the
Best Buy gift card.
games.
how did you win a $500 gift card?
I would get lucky sometimes.
Nice.
You don't need
She's
to know
also
about
won a
stuff.
headset, and just in the time that I've known her, it's ridiculous. And I've never
Secretly,
won
I'm just
anything.
sleeping around like crazy.
I like it.
Actually,
That's how you get your
Hunk.
perks.
That Geek Squad lifestyle.
That's right. No, but it's going to be good. I'm just really excited. I'm
Yeah,
going to get Samus
that'll be good.
Returns.
Nice.
So you can do like a build your own bundle thing at Best Buy, and I'm like the Limbo and Inside combo pack.
yeah?
I'm getting
Yep.
that.
I got that recently
Yes.
too. That was on sale.
I'm excited about
I got
that.
it for PlayStation. So.
Yeah, I'm going to get it for PS4 too. So Limbo and Inside combo pack, Samus Returns, and a beautiful. It's going to be a good month
that's
of
a good
gaming
day.
for me. It's going to be good. And at the end of this month, Mario Odyssey comes out.
which is pre-ordered for me.
Yes.
I
I
already
saw
got that
some
locked down.
videos of that. It
it's
looks
gonna
crazy.
be good.
Oh yeah, he got a Switch too,
Oh, join the
So,
club,
yeah,
buddy.
and Legend of Zelda.
Oh,
Zelda's great. No, I went to Best Buy I needed an HDMI cable, and I was frustrated at how overpriced I was going to pay for that. But
so
as
you
I-
bought a Switch?
well,
That's so
I walked by and I was
counterintuitive.
like, are those new Nintendos? Like,
Those dudes-
I heard those are really hard to get, and so I bought it. Again, impulse
That's
buy.
awesome. What an impulse buy.
Well, I mean, it was the Switch, and then Mario Kart was right next to it, and I was like, "Ooh, Mario Kart, that's good." Is that
So-
worth $350? The answer was yes.
Yes. So with Mario Kart, you should absolutely get Splatoon 2 because
Okay.
it's one of the best games ever. And with the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, you've got everything you need for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I've been
Mario
Yeah,
Odyssey comes
until
out.
Super Mario
I've
Odyssey
been playing a
comes
lot
out.
of Zelda,
So
but it's pretty big. Impressed how
it's
big,
big.
it is.
I was about to say, with your supposedly addictive personality, that sounds like a bad match.
I'll be done until November.
So it's going to be good. I'm
There's
really
something
excited
else.
about it.
Man, I forgot that Shadow of War was coming out so soon because October has a lot of stuff because it has Mario, obviously, Shadow of War, and then I am very interested in the new Assassin's Creed since it's like
There's a new Assassin's For
Yeah.
God's
They
sake,
took
they
off-
need to stop.
no, they took off last year. They didn't make one last
Oh,
year.
they took off 1 year.
then
Meantime,
to-
Red Dead, 7 years.
I know, but they've totally like redone a whole lot of the stuff. So it looks. So I'm interested just because
oh,
I
right,
did.
the one in Egypt.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
So it's in
I gotcha.
Egypt. They like totally revamped the combat system and a whole lot of other different things in it. So I'm actually very excited about it, but I can't decide if that'll be a launch day purchase.
Yeah,
or
maybe
not.
it'll only suck 50% now.
That's true. Who
Alright.
knows?
I think I played the first one, and then after that, I just never played.
I haven't played the last three. So
A 3 out of how many? 50?
oh, there's a.
Yeah, they need to
10?
stop.
Yeah, there's
they
getting
need
close
to
to
stop. That's my official line.
It's getting a little
They should try
ridiculous.
making movies. I think that'd work better.
Yeah,
Ooh,
I
it didn't.
feel like
didn't
it's a
work well.
burn because it didn't work well.
Poor Michael.
Good
Fassbender.
stuff.
I know. I still want to watch that movie though, but I'm not.
Although Michael Fassbender has chosen to make some questionable choices.
Probably chosen to make millions of dollars. That's what
true.
he mostly cares
Yeah.
about.
That is true. Who is it? Michael Caine. He was in some terrible movie, and somebody asked him about like, how'd you feel about like giving up on some of your artistic principles or whatever to be in this movie? He's like, it was whatever, but I really enjoy the house that I bought.
Nice.
So it's like, okay,
See,
I
I
understand.
can't fault
At
anybody
least
for
he's
that
honest.
mindset because it's like that's how I think of things.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like I'll
Can't
take
blame the
the
guy.
respectability decline in favor of the mansion.
That's true. All right, so the main thing that we wanted to talk about today was Michael and I have both played, as he alluded to earlier, Pyre, the Supergiant Games, which, no, it'll be over by now. I was going to say all the games are on sale on Steam right now. All Supergiant games are on sale, but that's only for this weekend. So after today, yeah.
Well,
Bastion
shit, I
is
should
like
buy
$5.
one. Wait, so is
Bastion, Transistor, and Pyre are all on sale.
oh well shit.
Pyre's on sale for like $15, I think, right now.
Oh my god. Okay, I'll buy it.
Yeah.
How about that?
You should do that.
Yeah,
because
I
it's a
will
lot of
do
fun.
that.
You should just buy them all. Just buy the bundle. I think it's $30 for all 3 games. Anyway, so this was a game that, like I said, I've said before when we talked about it on the show, I ran into this game at RTX 2 years ago, was the very first time, and played it and was instantly like, because I obviously, like I said, I played Bastion before. Michael actually got me into Bastion. So because I walked into his room one day and he was playing, I was like, what is this? This looks fun. And so obviously being how much I love Bastion, I was like, okay, well, I want to give this game a shot. Played the demo at RTX and was like, oh, this is going to be good. And so then it came out back in July. We kind of didn't do a review on it because I was reaching out to Supergiant, see if we could get somebody on to talk about it. But they didn't want to do it.
They were like, no, thank you.
I mean,
sir.
I get it. It was already past like the release of normally when they were probably
right.
doing PR stuff. But I was just like, I thought I'd ask anyway. Thanks, guys. Love your game.
Thanks, guys. Love your game.
But so obviously, since it only came out in July, we're not going to do anything too spoilery at all. We don't want to give away story details, things like that. But it is a very unique game in its styling, its gameplay, and how your combat.
I'd call combat, sure.
Air quotes, so yeah, so
Just say strats. You got those 6 strats, man.
yeah, that's true. That's
Yeah.
strategies that you got.
Plus, it's sport ball.
It is kind of a sports ball game.
The combat not apply.
But so the thing is, so it is an RPG game that developed by Supergiant, which is their first RPG that they've made, and
Really? You wouldn't qualify Bastion as an RPG?
no, it has some RPG-esque elements where you like level
Get
up
different-
weapons and things like that. But
yeah.
I don't know if I would necessarily call it a full-on RPG like this one is, because you don't have a party. This one you actually wind up building a party.
Oh, okay.
And upgrading them and giving them basic different talents and abilities and things
So
like that.
you have like your skill tree.
Yeah.
That's a
Whereas-
hallmark of the
And it's
Whereas
pretty
Bastion-
simple. You pretty much have
Yeah.
2 paths, so for each character. But
Right. But I mean, with the amount of the length of the game, it works out really well because you really do only get the option to pretty much upgrade one half of their tree all
Okay.
the way. So basically, the basic story synopsis of it is you wake up in this deserted place called the Downside, and you
pretty much like a purgatory.
basically,
Yeah.
which is. Well, let me finish this and we'll jump back to that point. But so you wake up and you are discovered by 3 people in a wagon that rolls up next to you.
What kind of wagon?
It's called the Black Wagon. It's basically just like a traveling thing. It can obviously house a lot of people. It's apparently pretty big from all the party like gets
I was
in it
thinking
later.
like Oregon Trail wagon.
Oh, no. I mean, kind of similar, very similar, but a little
that
bit
or like a
more.
radio flyer wagon.
No,
Like,
not that. Yeah, just hey, you wanna
hey
join us?
guys, you want to
On our
jump
little
into our
rail
wagon?
Oregon Trail than Radio Fly.
Yeah, more Oregon Trail. And so it's Hedwin, Jodariel, and Ruki. And Hedwin is just a normal dude. Looks like a human. Jodariel is like, well, she's technically, her class in the game is demon because she's someone who's been in the Downside long enough. She's started to lose her human characteristics and transform into like a different creature. So she's
Good
got
for
like
her.
huge horns and all this different stuff.
She's the one that looks really cool.
Yeah,
like
she's real badass.
She's far and away the coolest looking
Yeah,
character
she's
in the
like the
game.
biggest, strongest character.
Ah,
too,
that's
so.
awesome.
Yeah. So
She's the
she's really
Zarya
awesome.
of your game, if you will.
Exactly. And so then Ruki, who is a cur, a dog creature, Ruki Greentail is his name. And so you find them, and they figure out that they're on this quest to be able to escape the Downside, which you learn is a place, as Michael was saying, a purgatory for people who are cast out of this society called the Commonwealth. And
Sounds nefarious.
slightly,
Nothing that
kinda
brands
you kinda
itself
learn
the
that something
Commonwealth
that
is
like
ever
it's supposed
good.
to be this good place, but then it's kind of not. It's kind of cracking at the seams, as it were.
Every
things like that.
utopia secretly sucks.
Exactly. And so you discover that there's this through, I can't remember exactly how it kicks off in the game. How do you discover that you have to undertake these rituals?
I feel like you wake up and you find the book, or you,
They show you the book.
That's right.
Because they ask if you're a reader, because reading is outlawed in the Commonwealth.
yeah, so no
Gasp.
one else can read. So they actually they give you the book, and you find out through reading it that you have a responsibility to help
That's
save
what it
these
is.
people.
And so you go and you learn that there are these things called ceremonies called rites that will take place at different points, and you can read the stars to figure out when these events are going to occur. When you go there, you figure out that you'll face another group, and by completing these rites, you will eventually. Possibly, it's very cloudy. You're not quite sure because you haven't read through all the book yet. You discover more pages to the book as you go through the game.
Oh, I was about to say, why didn't you just sit down and have like a dedicated reading session?
Is it that you can't read them or you can't access other parts of the book? I don't know if they ever get specific.
Because as you go through it, it's like page unlocked, and you like
Yeah.
read it. So I think it's kind of that. It's not like the pages are missing; you just can't read them yet. And you learn more of the history of the Downside and the Commonwealth, and then you also figure out that through these rites, you might, if you are able to complete enough, and that's why all these other groups are doing them too, that you can maybe possibly win your freedom from the Downside and go back to the Commonwealth.
Interesting. But do you really want to?
Maybe.
Ooh, mystery.
That's something that you learned later in the
Ambiguity.
game. And possibly goes into too much spoiler territory for this.
Okay.
For this review.
I have not played the game, just so everybody knows. I
Right.
want to, but I haven't played it.
Which
So
is
I'm
why
You can't spoil it. You
just
haven't played it.
I'm just shooting into the dark here.
I brought Michael in because we've played it, so we could talk about it, and you can ask us questions about what you're curious about.
Well, I keep apparently hitting on spoilers by accident.
You're very intuitive.
I just can't help it.
We'll just
so
plead
smart.
the fifth if we have to talk about that.
Plead the
That's
fifth.
true.
Okay.
So you brought up an interesting point about it being like purgatory, because there is a very strong religious, not connotation to the game, but or influence, I guess would be a better thing about
Overtones?
it. Overtones, things like that.
Well, yeah, as you get to know these people in your group, you find out that some of them have done terrible things, some of them have done just not so great things. Definitely on the spectrum there, and people are kind of trying to redeem themselves.
Who did the worst thing?
Who did the worst thing? I feel like didn't Hedwin do something pretty bad?
Hedwin did something pretty bad.
Kill someone.
That's it? One person?
I was gonna say
Well, it was for a very poor reason.
it was a thing that he thought wasn't going to be a big deal, turned out to be a really big deal, because back in the Commonwealth. So another little bit of backstory: there is a war going on between the Commonwealth and the what are the Harpies? Their group. I got to look that up because that's going to drive me
Yeah,
crazy.
I can't remember.
But basically, these two factions are warring to each other.
Oh, okay.
Warring against each other. And so that has a lot of influence. Like Jordario was a captain in the Commonwealth before she fell out of favor and was sent to the downside. Ruki was just like a merchant who made a bad deal and got caught,
That's
kind of
lame.
Yeah. So,
Wait, what did you do?
So
is it ever really said? I think
No.
it's kind of like you have the option to kind of somewhat hint at your own backstory and kind of make your own backstory as the game goes. So there are several different options.
They kind of keep you pretty ambiguous. So you're referred to just as the reader. It's
I was
never
about to say, are you a defined character?
No,
or are you
you
kind
never
of
see
like
yourself.
a shell?
No, you're
Okay.
kind of this omnipresent, just moving the story
Gotcha.
along.
Oh, so you don't even have like a little character sprite or anything like
No,
that.
you're
You're
not.
just looking at. Okay.
You're just overseeing, controlling, and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, your responsibility is really to get people to these rituals and help them through them.
You're their token nerd.
Yeah, pretty
Okay,
much.
I got you.
I mean,
Yeah.
you can read and they can't. So.
Yeah, books are for chumps.
Apparently not.
Apparently
You're
not.
pretty rich.
Apparently,
Books
just
are
this
for
one.
champions.
Books are for
In this-
champions
in this
in one
game.
whole game, and it's just one book.
Yeah. And so it is this really interesting thing because everybody has their own reason for wanting to get out, but they also have to realize that, okay, well, we have to work together and we have to put our faith in this person. And so it is, you go through these areas. There are several different areas because you travel to different stars or like different areas in the downside where the stars are like aligned over. So it's, you use the stars, your guiding light, you go there and you're able to go to these things. And that's where you can do these various things called, man, I'm blanking on that. What is
For the actual rites?
No, not the
Or-
rights where you pick the 3 activities that you could do. What is that called?
Oh, yeah. Do they ever call it something
They
specific?
call it something. It starts with a C.
The choosing.
No,
The
no, no.
choosening.
No, because
Damn
you
it.
can either choose to study the book and help all your teammates. You can study the book and help one teammate specifically with upgrade one of their traits, and then you can also just like go forage for supplies or resources that you can then sell to a shop and then to buy runes to be able to put into your characters to give them a various buff.
Yeah, that was. I don't remember what it's called either, but that was definitely one of the more interesting things because you have the opportunity to basically improve one character very quickly, improve all of them slowly, or just get items that you can then pass along to other people. So
Right.
that was definitely an interesting challenge there.
And so it's a fun thing because each you can level up each character to 5. It had a rank 5, and then they're maxed out. Which really you have to be selective with which characters you want to go that high because you kind of have to. I mean, it does do something interesting where later in the game you are forced to change up your party, like
Oh.
for different situations. You are that happens in later game. You have to choose different people than who you normally have your set. Like for a while, my set team was Hedwyn, Tizo, and Pamitha.
That's a silly name.
Yeah, I
kinda
mostly
was.
used Jadariel, Tizo, and
You need to look up Tizo. He's cute.
pretty cute. And he's a little impish guy.
Yeah.
Aw.
And just like talks and
And then
screams.
who
And
was
shit.
P.I.Z.O.?
the like bog queen?
Bertrude, big Bertrude.
Yeah, she was great.
That sounds
She was
awesome.
real good because she was like this, like the bog witch character who could like do these huge leaps, and she would shoot out her. That's a little Tizo.
Oh, he's just like a potato with horns and wings.
And he can also explode and like kill half the map.
An
Yeah,
exploding
it's awesome.
potato. That's awesome.
And so you
Wait,
basically
what's
go
the bog
through
lady's name?
Bertrude. Bertrude.
How do you spell that? I can't.
Bertrude.
I think that's it.
That's a terrible name. Okay, let's see if I can make something happen.
Vocations. That's what the things are called. The
Yes.
vocations. I knew it had something to be like a job, something like that. So you can attend to your vocations at these various resting places, or go to explore certain areas of these different parts
Bertrude?
of the map. Bertrude.
Wow, you were not even close.
What'd I say?
Bertrude. Like there were too many R's in it.
Oh.
Anyway.
So anyway,
Anyways.
so Bertrude is really great. So each person has a different thing. Like Pamitha is a flying harpy, so that's really comes in. Tizo can also fly, but for short distances. Well, I guess I don't want to necessarily give all the.
Oh, she looks like a badass.
Yeah, Bertrude's pretty badass.
She is cool.
And so I don't want to give away all the people because, but each person has a different ability and way that they're able to move. So in these rites, which are where the main part of this game takes place, is very much like Moog was saying, it's very much kind of a sports influenced thing. You have each team has a pyre. You're able to use 3 of your companions, which you get to select which ones you want to use at the beginning of each round. It's not like it's set in stone every time who you're going to use, and you have to get an orb into the other person's pyre, and each pyre has a score on it, normally 100. But later on in the game, you can add buffs or things to either increase the size of your pyre, decrease theirs, or impact how much damage each character does into the pyre when they drop the orb into it.
And it's definitely one of those things. I mean, you're taking the glowing basketball and putting it into the
glowing.
I was about to say you're trying to dunk it.
It's very much it's a mix of like basketball. More basketball, I guess, than soccer, but it's very much a kind of a combination of those two, because you can have it and you can just straight up run it in. You can sprint and have your character run in and just do it that way. You can, for flying characters, they can fly and just hover over the pyre and drop it in, or you can even throw it from a distance into it. So it allows for you to really strategize really well what you want to do and how you want to handle the situation. But, and this is what gets very difficult, especially later on in the game, you can only control one person at a time.
So you pass the ball around, whoever has the hot potato can actually move, but no one else can.
Right. And if the other team has the orb, you can switch like who you're gonna control when your team is not in possession of the orb. When you have the orb, you can pass the orb, and that's how you move control.
Your person, gotcha.
Yeah. Because you can just be like, oh, Jadariel's on the far other side of the map, I'm gonna throw it to her. Kind of different stuff like that. But then each character also has an aura, which is just this ring that surrounds them. And when you carry the orb, the aura disappears, which means if you run into an opponent's aura, you're eliminated, and you have like a respawn counter before your character comes back.
Okay.
But you can also shoot your aura and project it, so into like a straight beam, or some characters like Bertrude shoots it in a big wide pattern, kind of like more of a shotgun approach to it. Ruki casts his in a very long and fast, but it's very narrow, so you have to be very precise in your aiming. Jadariel is like huge, but very wide, but not very long. Hedwyn is like in the middle somewhere.
Okay.
Of just the people that you play with at the very beginning. And so it becomes this thing of trying to jockey yourself around and position yourself into the best way where you're going to be able to have either a clear shot, but then also maybe try to take out some of their people. Like at the beginning, I used to always go for the orb first and then just try to work around it. But then later on in the game, I realized that I had to mix it up a bit and start trying to eliminate opponents to be able to even have a shot. Because man, as you get later into the game, especially when the other teams start having runes and stuff that either up their damage and stuff like that, it can get ridiculous.
I think I vaguely heard that it's actually a pretty difficult game, isn't it?
It gets real hard.
That was my experience. I think the first half of the game was actually thought pretty easy.
I did too.
But I'd say
But then that curve shoots up.
I'd say the last few matches, they were just So I actually did really, really well the first probably 7/10 of the game, and the last half of the game it just I
got murdered.
Yeah.
Wow.
All the time.
But you did finish it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which has interesting effect in the story and how the story plays out. If you start losing later matches, so it adds a whole lot of pressure. Plus, as part of the mythology of this area and everything, there were these old gods called Titans before, similar to Greek mythology and stuff like that, who you can later on unlock Titan stars, which give various. Well, they're not even buffs. They make it harder for you.
Yeah, so there are various different levels, and then by the end, I think there's 7, 8,
12,
or
actually.
There's a ton. But you can pick basically how much increase the difficulty level. So, I think it's sometimes have the enemy move 10% faster, and if you win in that situation, you get a 3% experience boost.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
you do get something
get a reward,
for choosing
yeah.
to
But
do it.
you can layer on. You can do all of them at once.
Yeah.
I did try that once. I think I lost that match in about 1 minute. It was just impossible.
It's ridiculous because it will lower your pyre to half health. It might even boost theirs by 20 or 30.
Slow you down.
Make them react faster, make them move faster. It's ridiculous.
So what is really the incentive for doing that? Is it just that the rewards are that great?
if you were to win a match with all 12, like everybody in your party would get so much XP, it'd be ridiculous.
Okay.
And so I think that is the way where they're like, okay, based on the story, you're not going to have enough time to level up everybody. If you want to try, you can do it with these Titan stars.
Okay.
But the interesting thing is even when you lose a match, the story keeps moving along. So you have to make
like you don't get to. It's not like game over where you go back and redo it. You've just lost.
No,
and the
actually,
game, that's
game
really
keeps going.
interesting.
You never
I didn't know
actually
that.
game over.
Which, as like I was saying, later on in the game, you're like, oh shit, like this is not going how I wanted it to go.
Okay.
Has a huge impact.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
So it's a fun thing. I don't know how much different like the story. It's a short enough game you could easily go back and replay. Like it took, how long would you say it probably took? Like 20 hours, 12 to 20 hours, somewhere in that range.
I'd say so. It took like 3 or 4 days of consistent playing. So.
Yeah, and so it's not bad. So it's an easy one to, and it's fun enough, and it's not like you're trying to go through and do another replay of The Witcher 3 or something like that. So it's easy. It's a one you could pick up, and okay, I know I did really bad at this part, and like really try to get better. Take on the Titan stars. You unlock trophies if you're going for trophy hunting on that. By unlocking a lot of, like, if you win a match with all 12 Titan stars, like that's one of the trophies you can unlock. So if you ever wanted to go back and do all those kind of things, you can. But it's just it's one that you could go back in. But I'm interested to see how much variation it especially if I were to do better in the in game, how that would change things later.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Because it's interesting too. And you meet these other groups, and before each rite starts, you have a conversation usually with the opponent. And some are very like aggressive and antagonistic. Others are just like, look, we're stuck here too. We're just trying to get out. So which has. Not really, because I was like, I'm still going to beat your ass, but or try to. But it does have some impact on how you react and how you play versus the other opponents, and then it just adds a little bit more character into building out this world. But for what it was and what it was trying to do, like it was very impressive, especially considering that Supergiant only has a team of 12 people.
I had no idea.
Yeah,
I didn't know that either.
And
that is pretty impressive.
Yeah, and for them to spit out 3 games, which all 3 games that they've put out so far have been very well received.
Nice.
So it's interesting to see if they'll, this is a game too that could very well easily have a sequel, and I'd be very interested to see what they would do with that if they decided to go with that.
Mm-hmm.
But
can you lose every match and still finish the game?
I think so, yeah.
Sweet.
You're just not going to have a very good end story.
Okay,
yeah, the
gotcha.
story, without spoiling it, we took very different paths and finished the game very differently.
Okay.
I think you did better than I did.
So, but what you I did better, except I changed some things at the end, and the ending that you told me is nothing like my ending.
Oh.
Really?
Ooh. See, so now I have even more incentive to go back and play. And so, they do all this, and like I said, the combat system, the rights system is really what gets it. It can get. I did notice near the end, especially when you have to start going back and hitting some of these old areas, that started to get a little repetitive.
Yeah, if anything, I think the story and the writing was really good, but near the end where it became kind of, I wouldn't say monotonous, but it was very similar, the same types of scenarios with different characters.
Yeah.
And I found myself just, trying to go through, I don't need to read all this.
Reading all the stuff, yeah. That's how I was with it too. I was just kind of like, okay, I'm done reading. Because they did an interesting thing, granted, because they have a team of 12 people. They did this where it's very much the characters will appear on screen and they'll have a different picture, but they're not animated in any way other than the fact that they'll have a a colored background might come around to depict their mood or something like that, or the image of them will change to be relaxed, angry, or something like that.
Oh, so just like their emotion cards.
Yeah. Exactly.
Gotcha.
It's like reading a children's book, kind of.
It's kind of, yeah. It's very much like an older style RPG where they weren't. For what you would see on the NES or the SNES, where it's you just read all conversation and go through like that, and you were able to pick how you responded and had all that, so, as you would with most RPGs, but they had a language that they spoke. Everybody did. They didn't speak English, but the words were in English. So it was an interesting thing that they took they took the time to record all those dialogue lines, but then not actually have them be spoken.
Sure.
I think there were a couple points where they was actually spoken in English to you, but it was a very almost like a dreamlike state kind of things where you're in.
The narrator spoke in English.
That's true.
So
who was the overseer? I
remember, without spoiling it, but
the person who oversees the rights and all that stuff. Yeah, he does talk to you in English, which he is just very much how'd you figure this out? Like, how'd you figure out you could read? That's not cool, kind of thing.
That's not cool.
But you're here, and so he oversees all the matches and kind of like calls it, like gives game like
you're ref
commentates them.
Okay,
like
gotcha.
Your group is called the Nightwings. Like the Nightwings have struck first and different things like that, or and all that. So it's a very well crafted world, I think, and obviously similar to the Supergiant's art style with Transistor and Bastion. Very beautiful game. It's very vibrant colors and different, especially for all the different areas that you can go to.
Well, the other thing in addition to the actual art is the music.
So
every single group so as you're going throughout and you're playing different people, each group has their own theme, has their own like, style, and they're all very distinct.
Yeah,
nice.
Like and it's interesting too when you hear them. Like one of the groups you run across is the Pyre Hearts, which are these they're like worm creatures, worm snake mixtures, and their song is one called Knights of the Sea, which is actually one of my favorite tracks of the whole soundtrack. But then everybody's kind of having this I can't really describe the normal tone of theirs. It's normally like a not classical guitar sounding thing too.
I think that's accurate.
Pretty accurate. Okay. And so, but then the one group that you run into is like hard rock.
Yeah, like the
dun, 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 dun,
the dog
dun.
group is
Yeah.
like their theme is like hardcore metal.
Yeah.
So it's
Which
awesome.
when that started up, I was not expecting it. I was like, this is weird.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, so the soundtrack of it is really great too, and it's by Darren Korb, the guy who did the soundtracks for obviously Bastion and Transistor.
Yeah, the main theme. So I think they play the main theme. Well, that's the other thing. You have a character who's basically just like a singer.
The lone minstrel.
Yeah. And so basically he like sings the song for the liberation rights.
Yeah.
Which is like, I think that was my favorite song.
So that was the interesting thing for me because I love the soundtrack, but for some reason, and it's the same way with not as much in the Bastion, but even the Transistor one. Like the songs that they did with words kind of took me out of it.
Really?
Yeah.
I really like that.
Really?
Yeah, I thought it was great. Because it was so different. All the rest was just all like, just plain music, no words, anything.
Huh.
And then the main song comes in and it's actually like the two people singing together. And I don't know. I thought it was unique. Each time, so it happens each time you get to this one like end stage to each essentially round.
Yeah.
And it would just like that song, I don't know, it was distinct.
It was. I mean, they're good songs. They're just not my favorite compared to the rest of the soundtrack. And it's what's fun about that is it's Darren Korb is the male vocalist on those as well, and then Ashley Barrett, who has also provided vocals for Transistor, is who sings with him on that too. So it's just really cool. And that's why I think I love Supergiant, how like legit in-house they make their games.
Yeah.
Like it's from start to finish, every aspect of it is them. They even do like team members are who's doing the voice acting for the characters if you watch through the credits and stuff like that.
That's kind of
so
cool.
it's really cool just like how much, even though they're putting out these really critically acclaimed games, how much they like really keep it in-house and they haven't branched out too much to like, bring in big name actors or musicians.
I mean,
and
I'm
things
sure a lot
like
of that has
stuff.
to do more with economic resources.
Probably, but it's great.
Yeah,
It's just
probably
awesome to
more
see how well it works out for them.
because I mean, a 12-person studio doesn't have the buying power that somebody like EA does.
No, definitely not. But it's still fun to see that, it's just one of those things. It's like the indie game studio out there making some cool shit happen. And so far, every single game of theirs that I played has been great.
And that just goes to show that having Peter Dinklage in your game isn't necessarily a good thing.
That is true.
Yeah,
That's
that
very
probably
true.
cost as much as making, one of these Supergiant games.
Yeah, probably did.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely did, for sure. But anything else about it stick out that you...
Let's see. We talked about the music, talked about the art. One of the things that actually I found really challenging was the trying to balance the leveling up characters and the items.
Yep.
By the end, basically, in essence, like you can only buy certain items once, and there are certain items that are specific to characters, which your party changes throughout. That was the only thing that was like very unclear to me. It was like, do I sell this item? Am I going to get this character?
Right.
Like, will I play with them more often? Whatever it may be. That was a little ambiguous, but
Yeah, that got a little... I didn't necessarily see as much point until way late in the game into actually spending money at the shop to upgrade stuff because you get these runes or talismans actually I think is what they call them in the game, where that you can apply to each character, and you can do those by either going to like different parts of the map and discovering them. You can buy them from this shopkeeper, or there's a different part in the game where there's this. Each character can undergo a test and receive their own talisman. Mm-hmm. And so, but then you can buy from the shopkeeper, you can buy this Stardust or something like that.
Upgrade items.
To upgrade the talismans to increase their effects. And that really, for me, didn't play, and I didn't really pay much attention to that until later in the game when it started picking up in difficulty, and like the other groups started using talismans and things to affect their gameplay, and that's like, okay, I see why these are important now. Because like you said at the beginning, it's very easy, and you can steamroll people at the beginning. And so it's just it was a thing that I was like, I should have been taking advantage of this a little bit.
Gotcha.
But still, it's fun how it had an effect. Yeah, but for me, really, honestly, the only drawback for me is that the con, and it's not even a huge con, it's just what I've said before, that it gets a little repetitive near the end. But what's fun is it's more of the story getting repetitive, but each rite is
it's still
completely unique every single time.
Yeah, the gameplay, it was very unique. Bastion was a great game. Never played Transistor. Also looks very unique, but this made me want to play Transistor.
Yeah, same. And especially because Dylan was telling us last time he was on here that Transistor, he just finished up Transistor, and he said it was great too.
I mean, that's a game I literally know things about.
I love that one. Again, listen to the soundtrack, and it's great too. So, I mean, soundtracks are good. Soundtracks can be a good
motivator.
To get into a game.
Definitely.
So, but yeah, Pyre, Supergiant Games. It's great. It's awesome. I think everybody should play. And like I said, well, it's too late now, but it was on sale on Steam. So you should have been paying attention to playing on Steam. Even if you don't buy it on sale, it's still only $20, I think. On
so it's not like a full price game.
No, PlayStation Network and Steam. So
nice.
I strongly recommend everybody get out there, play some Pyre.
All right.
There it is. All right. Well, we'll come back to the song contest because we need to put together a hint for it for this week. But still, here are the rules on it. Song contest goes live Wednesday, 9 a.m., the day after this episode goes live. First person to correctly respond to the hint that we'll put up through a Facebook or Twitter post or in the comments of the YouTube video, first person to correctly guess the game that we are referencing will get to send us a song and hint for a future episode. Well, Michael, thank you for coming on, talking about Pyre. It was awesome to have you on, finally, onto the show.
Thanks for having me, guys.
I feel like I dropped the ball there.
Taking
it until episode 88 to have you on.
Well, 88's my favorite number. So.
I think he's lying about that.
It makes me feel better, so I'm cool with it.
It's my favorite number now.
But yeah, so it was great to come on, have you on, talk about Pyre, talk about Red Dead Redemption, and all the fun excitement that we have for that game.
Thanks for having me,
as well. You're welcome. With that wraps up this episode of Team Chat Podcast. Until next time, I'm one of your hosts, Jerrett Wilson, joined to my right by Rachel Mogan.
Adios.
And to my left, our special guest, Michael Koploy.
See y'all later.
See you all next time. Stick around for the song. All right, everybody, here's the hint for the song contest for this week. The hint is, you might lose a finger, but you'll get a badass blade. One more time, you might lose a finger, but you'll get a badass blade.